Right, hello and welcome back to another Ruby Inspire. This is number 26. Okay. Rosalind rested peacefully, lying on Berry. Berry curled protectedly around her, purring softly to keep her asleep. On the other side of the door, Garian hybrids scrambled about what to do. The kitty is so mean, Lotor. Look what it did to my arm. Huh? Yeah, and what that thing was nuzzling imagery. What kind of awesome danger she could do without the chains and muzzle. Quiet! You too. Nadla, do you think you could have... Nadla shook her head and stroked down the cat's back. All right, all of you, quiet. Lotor sat back in his chair, thumb and knuckle placed the bridge of his nose. If either of those things wake up, we'll never get them quiet again. Ezra stepped up, hands on her hips. What are we going to do with them anyway? What was the original plan? Lotor stared forward, his hand on his chin. We were going to kill the child and the beast. However, it seems that we may have underestimated that thing. Also, the noise that child makes is so ungalling. Ezra shrugged. I think it's kind of cute when it's asleep. She doesn't look so much like the Red Paladin. However, I don't think she looks anything like Champion. The Garian prince raised a brow at her. Were you not there when you figured out that she wasn't Champion's? Must have been, she asked. I thought it was weird seeing the Blue Paladin spending so much time with her, and the Red Paladin. Keith, Lotor muttered, looking up. Keith. An odd name, but it suits him. What's the child's name? Rosalind, Lexa answered, gesturing to the door. Intriguing name. I wonder why they chose it. Ezra giggled as she watched the baby and the cat-like creature from the other side of the door. Aw, I think the kitty's playing with the baby. Come on, look, it's so cute. Sedef huffed as she gathered towards the window and glared into the room. The feline is a creature of destruction. Why is it playing with a child? It should be tearing it to shreds. Alexa stepped up to peer through the window. She's protecting the child. She wouldn't hurt her unless the child attacks her. Her true bond. The Red Paladin, however, would never. And why and how would this small child attack its mother? The larger hybrid huffed. And I suppose it would be unfair that it wouldn't. She breathed deeply, watching as the baby forced on the long flare of Berry's long tail. Meow. Berry meowed, grooming Rosalind's hair and keeping wrapped tightly around her. Ezra then pointed. Is that a collar on the kitty's neck? Alexa narrowed her eyes. Lotor looked up. What is it? The collar. Alexa grounded out. We have to get rid of it. Get it off. There could be some kind of tracker on it. We can't have the paladins figuring it at us and out that we've found her. Can we? Lotor huffed, looking forward. If you consider that possibility, you should also consider the possibility of the tracker being inside her body, or even Rosalind's. I doubt the collar has a tracker. They'd never take her or let her off the ship so she could protect Keith and Rosalind. Leave the beast be. If the paladins arrive within Avaga, then I'll believe the tracker's theory. Berry curled her tail around Rosalind, purring softly, and nuzzling her. She screamed as Rosalind wailed, tears rolling down her chubby, bright red cheeks. Ezra stood in the doorway, trying to shush her without getting closer. It's okay, Ros. That's her name, right? Rosalind. Right. It's okay, Rosalind. Calm down, now before Lotor gets angry. It's too late for that. Ezra whined, covering her ears. Rosalind got out louder shrieks. Bearer's ears flickered back against her head, rubbing her cheeks against Rosalind's. I don't know what to do. Now came in, nudging Ezra aside. Berry growled as she stepped closer, flinging her fangs and claws. Nara reached down with warning from Berry and Ezra. She helped up Rosalind and cradled her to her chest. Berry watched, dark, narrow eyes. Her turned to Ezra with a gesture. Berry trotted around, keeping Rosalind in her sight. Ezra came closer, then gasped as so placed her hand on the back of her head. She needs a bottle of formula, and a full of these things are the paladins call a diaper. So spoke, rather shocked, as so cooled her until she was done. Ezra gathered as she fell onto the nearest wall for support. Do you have to? Neda nodded. Alexa sighed, turning to Lotor. Lotor adjusted his head and glared to Nata. He chuckled as he spotted Berry glaring up at Nata's tail, flicking impatiently. Since we can't kill it, may as well get Necessity. Sorry, can't read it. Hush, hush, what do I do? Shut it up, Ezra. Why do you think it's trying to do, sir? It's been fed, its diaper's changed and cleaned. She's with Berry. What else is there to be? Seraph hissed, her hands over her ears, trying to keep it asleep. Ezra picked up. Oh, okay, sleep. It's time for baby to sleep. She sang horribly off key. Alexa clenched her jaw. I'm not sure what that's worse. Rosalind whined, stretching her arms up. Lotor saw this and groaned. He got up, nudged to her side. She wants to be held. He held his hands up, and Harry growled at him. He crouched in front of them. Rosalind cried, dying down, whimpering as Sobs showered over her. I won't hurt her, beast. I just want her to shut up. Barry's eyes widened at him as Lotor carefully picked her up. He slowly stood up. Rosin calmed down. Lotor and his generals all sighed in relief. As he cradled her completely, licking her finger as she looked curiously up at him. Good child, he muttered, then tilted his head to Barry. The feline stood and lowered him to his chair. He sat, adjusting his arms. Barry leapt onto the armrest. Rosalind cooed through the spikes of her fingers. Ezo giggled, peering over its shoulder to her. She could join our crew. You know, she is a Gora, hybrid like us. With the paladins as parents, she bonded to the strong, just like you. Lotor hummed, studying the child's face. You have a lot in common, she muttered. Lotor huffed. I'm not sure what a child of mine of crew. The pink hybrid shrugged. Just a suggestion. Lotor! Zaev turned to the prince. He grunted in response. The Varga is almost over, and still no sign of Voltron. Lotor raised a gaze. Do they really care that this child, then? He asked, tucking Rosalind in closer to his chest. So looked up, about to speak, when a blue light cut through. Quiznak! So he yelled. The screens flashed. Lotor growled, familiar face. Champion. Shiro narrowed his eyes. Lips sat on straight line. We've been tracking our family back now. We're taking our family back. If you don't mind, Your Majesty? Rosalind cooed and kicked as she spotted the familiar face. Barry purred and raised her head, trembling. Okay, that's the end of that. Sorry, it's a bit numbling. I've had a bit of a sore throat. So yeah. Alright, I hope it's okay.